All right, so you're ready to level up your workouts, maybe add some muscle, boost your performance a bit.
Yeah.
You heard creatine can help with that, right?
Creatine, yeah, it's one of those supplements that's been around forever.
And then you see the massive amount of choices,
Oh, tons of choices, right.
like monohydrate,
hmm
HCl, ethyl ester,
Buffered creatine.
and you're just standing there in the store or scrolling through a website like,
Yeah.
What is the actual difference? Where do I even start? It's enough to make anyone's head spin.
It's interesting, right? Because on the one hand, creatine has this super long history, lots of research backing it up.
Yeah.
But for people who are new to it,
Yeah.
it can be really overwhelming.
Super overwhelming. And that's exactly what we're diving into today. We're going to try to cut through all that creatine confusion, help you figure out which type is right for you. And to do that, we're going to be looking at this really awesome article, a No BS guide for beginners.
Love a no BS guide.
Me too, right? Straight to the point. And our goal here is to simplify this for you, the listener. We want you to walk away from this feeling confident about choosing the right type of creatine without needing to become a biochemist.
Right. Like a shortcut to understanding what's actually important.
Absolutely. So let's start with the fundamentals. Why should anyone even consider using creatine? What does it actually do?
Okay, so creatine is a natural compound that's found in your muscle cells. Basically, it helps your muscles produce energy during high-intensity exercise. You know, those short bursts of effort like lifting weights or sprinting.
Right, so it's not really about endurance, it's about that explosive power.
Yeah, exactly. It's like that extra boost to help you push harder and recover faster between those intense efforts. And all that leads to more gains in the long run.
So when I'm trying to squeeze out that last rep or I'm sprinting towards the finish line, creatine's there to help me get there.
That's it. Plus, consistent research shows that creatine can help you build more lean muscle mass over time. It can help you recover quicker between sets, so you can push yourself harder in each workout.
And I remember reading somewhere that it's not just for serious athletes, right?
You're totally right. There's research from the NIH suggesting that the benefits of creatine go beyond just weightlifting. Sprinters, athletes in team sports, even people who are just generally active can see positive effects on performance and recovery.
So really, anyone can potentially benefit from creatine, not just bodybuilders. But going back to what we said earlier, the sheer number of options is a huge barrier for newbies.
Absolutely.
So where does this No BS guide recommend beginners start?
Okay, straight up, the guide recommends creatine monohydrate. It's the #1 choice for beginners. They even call it the GOAT, the greatest of all time.
The Joe8 for newbies. I love that. So what makes monohydrate so great for someone just starting out with creatine?
Well, first off, there's a mountain of research behind it. Like, the guide mentions over 1,000 studies that have looked at its safety and effectiveness over decades.
Wow, 1,000.
Yeah, we're talking decades of research showing the benefits. Increased strength, faster recovery, even potential cognitive benefits, as noted by Examine.com. That's a really strong track record.
That's a huge amount of evidence. What else makes it beginner-friendly?
It's super affordable and easy to use. We're talking like $10 to $15 a month. And it's simple to mix, just 3 to 5 grams with water, coffee, your protein shake, whatever you like. You don't need to follow any complex protocols.
So no crazy timing, no complicated routines.
Then just mix it in and go. That's what the author loves about it. No fuss, no mess.
I like that. So simple, effective, affordable. But the guide does mention a potential drawback, right? Bloating.
Yeah, some people do experience a bit of bloating, which is usually caused by creatine drawing water into the muscles.
Yeah.
But the solution is simple. Drink more water.
Makes sense. So overall, monohydrate seems like the clear winner for beginners. But what about all those other types of creatine? Are they worth considering?
It's a great question. And while monohydrate is the top recommendation, let's break down those other options. The guy has a great table comparing them, so we can kind of go through it point by point.
Perfect. Let's start with creatine HCl. I've seen that one around a lot.
Yeah, creatine HCl, the hydrochloride. It's often marketed as dissolving faster and requiring smaller doses. Those are the main pros listed in the guide.
Okay, so faster dissolving, smaller doses. What about the downsides?
Well, the big one is the price. It's significantly more expensive than monohydrate, like 3 times the cost. And there isn't as much research backing it up compared to monohydrate. The guide says it might be an option for people with sensitive stomachs, though.
Okay, so maybe if you have real trouble with monohydrate in your stomach, HCl could be an alternative. But you're paying a premium for potentially similar benefits and with less scientific evidence to back it up.
Exactly. Now let's talk about creatine ethyl ester. This one's really interesting because It's often advertised as having superior absorption.
Right, I've seen those ads. Sounds pretty good, actually.
It does, but here's the thing. The guide actually debunks that claim. They say that studies have shown creatine ethyl ester to be ineffective.
Really?
Yeah, it seems like it breaks down in your body before your muscles can even use it.
Oh, wow. So the marketing doesn't match the science at all?
Not really. It's more expensive, too. The guide kind of jokingly says it's best for trend followers.
Haha, yeah. So, not recommended unless you really like following trends without any evidence.
Pretty much. All right, now we've got buffered creatine. This one is designed to be less acidic, and one potential advantage is that you might not need a loading phase with it.
Okay, less acidic, no loading phase. Those sound like potential benefits. What are the drawbacks?
Well, the research on buffered creatine is a bit mixed, and it's still more expensive than monohydrate. The guide suggests it might be a good option for people who are skeptical of monohydrate, maybe because of the acidity.
Interesting. So, looking at all these options, what's the guy's overall take on monohydrate versus the alternatives?
The author's advice is pretty clear. Save your money. Most of those alternatives don't have enough scientific evidence to justify the higher cost. Creatine HCl might be worth trying if you have stomach issues with monohydrate. But for the vast majority of beginners, monohydrate is the best choice.
So, about 90% of people should stick with monohydrate, it sounds like.
Yeah, pretty much.
Makes sense. Okay, so we've established that monohydrate is the way to go for most beginners. The guide also gives some helpful tips for actually using it. What's the first thing people should know?
The biggest tip is you don't need a loading phase. For a while, people were told to take like 20 grams a day for the first week or so. But now the International Society of Sports Nutrition says that's not necessary. Just taking 3 to 5 grams every day is just as effective. It just takes a bit longer to reach that saturation point.
So no need to overload yourself with creatine right away. Just be consistent with a smaller dose. And what about timing? Does it matter when you take it?
Good news is, timing isn't super crucial. The guide says that being consistent is way more important than when you take it. You can take it before your workout, after you work out, with breakfast. Whatever works for you, as long as you're taking it regularly.
Okay, so one less thing to worry about. I like that. The last tip was about taking it with carbs. Is that really necessary?
It can be beneficial, but it's not essential. Pairing your creatine with some carbs, like a banana or oatmeal, can help with absorption. The insulin spike from the carbs can help shuttle the creatine into your muscles more efficiently. But the guide says it's not a deal breaker. If you forget, it's no big deal.
So it's a good idea, but not mandatory. Now, the author of this guide shares his personal experience with creatine too, right?
It does. Mohammed Natsif Udin, he's been using and even selling supplements for over 5 years. And he says he always comes back to creatine monohydrate.
That's a pretty strong testament to monohydrate coming from someone who knows the supplement industry so well.
Absolutely.
And he even recommends some specific brands.
He does. He suggests Optimum Nutrition and bulk supplements for those who want pure, unflavored monohydrate. And those are usually pretty affordable. For people who don't like the grainy texture of some creatine powders, he recommends Cage Creatine Hydrocharge, which mixes more easily.
Great, so some solid options to start with. So to wrap things up, what are the final thoughts from the guide for beginners who are just getting into creatine?
The main takeaway is keep it simple, especially when you're just starting out. Monohydrate is the safest, most effective, most affordable option. The guide says you should give it 4 to 6 weeks to see results. You might notice better muscle pumps, faster recovery, maybe even a slight mental edge.
And what about down the line, if someone wants to try something different?
The advice is to master the basics with monohydrate first. See how your body responds, get into a consistent routine. Then, if you're curious, you can explore other types later on. But for now, stick with what works.
All right, so just to recap for our listeners, the evidence, the cost, the ease of use, it all points to creatine monohydrate as the best place to start.
Yeah, totally agree. It's the foundation. And once you've got that down, you can always experiment later if you want.
And you know, what's so cool about this deep dive is that it shows how something that seems super complicated can actually be pretty straightforward.
Yeah.
It makes you wonder what other parts of fitness or nutrition might be simpler than they seem. Maybe by approaching things with that same kind of critical but open mind, we can find more of those easy wins in our health and fitness journeys.
Love that thought. It's all about finding what works for you and not overcomplicating things.
Absolutely.